Coming up in today's IdeaSpace podcast.
You really have to believe in it. Your belief has to be so infectious that other people believe in what you're trying to achieve too, especially when you create a product that doesn't exist. We think about everything we do in so much detail, like does it align with our mission, our why? Over time, the more I learn and read, the responsibility I feel becomes greater. And I know it's not, I can't do it alone. We all need to work together. It's about, a lot of people doing a little rather than just a few people doing a lot.
Welcome to the IdeaSpace podcast. I'm Ben Hartley, head of IdeaSpace. IdeaSpace is a community of entrepreneurs, founders and their teams, many of them working alongside each other in one of our 3 offices based in and around Cambridge. Our members share knowledge, experience and expertise to help themselves and others in their high-impact venture creation. This Startup Stories, we're chatting with Faye Whitley, co-founder of Beevive. Beevive is a small company based in Devon that has set about creating a series of products based around helping the bee population and spreading the word about their importance to the fragile environmental ecosystem. The company currently has 7 employees, creating products such as their Beevive Bee Survival Kit, as well as opportunities to engage with schools and global organisations such as the World Wildlife Fund. It's another chance to hear more about the highs and lows of an interesting business founder's journey. Right, hello, Faye. Thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to IdeaSpace's podcast. So I think before we delve more into how the company came about and a little bit about yourself as an entrepreneur, can you tell us a little bit more about what the company and the brand, what it is, what it does, and what you do as a company and as a team? Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me. I am buzzing to be here. Had to put a pun in there straight away. Yeah. So Beevive was basically born out of a love for wildlife, nature. Me and my partner spent a lot of our childhood growing up in the countryside, which was fantastic. And Beevive itself was specifically grown out of a encounter which we call our spontaneous encounter with a tired bee. Basically, he took me on holiday to this lovely seaside town. We were wandering around on our way back and came across a tired bee. And she looked so tired, she was hardly moving, and we felt really sorry. And so we kneeled down to see if we could help, and we could see she's definitely in distress. So we rolled up our sleeves trying to find some flowers, and we just very surprisingly couldn't find any nearby, which I guess sparked a first alarming, this is interesting to be in such a lovely place, but not be able to find anything ready available. But Jake, my partner, remembered that his grandma said if you find a bee in need, maybe some sugar and water would help. So we went to this cafe and asked the lady if she had put some sugar water on a teaspoon for us. And she, of course, gave us a dodgy look. Like, what? I took it outside and we all gathered around and we watched this bumblebee take a drink. She started to warm up. She was moving her body around, and eventually, 10 minutes later, was in flight again. And I swear she flew back around and said thank you for us.
A little circle. Loop around
exactly. Yeah. And if for anyone that's ever saved a bee or helped an animal, the feeling that you get, it's just so infectious. And Jake and I just said, well, there must be something out here maybe for when other people find a bee in need, and that you could carry around with you. And we looked and we just couldn't find anything. So we put our brains together, and about 3 months later we sat down at our coffee table and started sketching out the idea of what a bee revival kit, which is the product we come to invent, would look like. And that was the start of Beevive. So bee and revival kind of squished together, and the idea of it from the very beginning was, yes, it was a tool to use, to talk about, to carry around. It had a purpose, but beyond that, how we could help other people have the same experience as we had, and use that experience to, make positive changes. It wasn't just about the keyring itself. It was about people learning about what other activities they could do to save bees, so perhaps signing petitions and honestly, it just skyrocketed from there.
So the actual for the listeners here,
yes,
who might not know, there's an actual kit you can carry around. The reason I know about this is that my one of the office managers at Idea Space has got one of these kits and showed us, and then other people around the office wanted one and were intrigued about it. But so it's a key ring. You can wear it around your neck. You can have it on your keys, and there's a little vial that contains the sugar water
syrup. Yeah. So basically, it's come a long way from the sketchings on the coffee table. But basically, the Bee Revival kit, it's a key ring. Inside there is a small bottle that's refillable, but it contains a bee food syrup. It's a specifically formulated sugar water solution that will not spoil, so you can carry it around with you safely on your backpack, like you said, on your keys. And so whenever you find a bee that's struggling and you can't find any flowers nearby, you can offer it a drink. So that was our first product. We've now expanded into a range of products that include planting for bees, housing bees, and all sorts of collaborations.
There's a little hotel. There's a hotel for bees.
Yeah. So funny enough, my partner's background is in architecture. He's a technician, and I'm previously a fashion designer. And sustainability was really important to me when I was doing my degree. And so we put our product design knowledge and fused our passion and architecture and love for bees into this combined bee hotel making project. So we'd seen others out there. That wasn't a new product per se, but we thought there could be improvements, shall I say.
I mean, I've got to say, the website looks amazing. The number of products you've got,
thank you,
and the branding. And I was going to ask you about that, about how what sort of experiences you might have had, you and your partner and other people who've helped you out, because it looks such a strong brand, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's interesting because sometimes you feel like what you study might dictate your whole path. And now I look back, literally 10 years ago, this year I graduated having done a fashion degree, which I absolutely loved. But it taught me so many skills that were transferable. And I left university and I went straight into the retail industry. I worked for Ted Baker, and I learnt so much there, that the whirlwind 18 months. But learning about supply chains, learning about design, demand, the buying process was just, and it is so integral now to Beevive. That's kind of where we started, and and I still love fashion. Still love sustainable fashion and looking for alternative ways of buying clothing. So,
of which there's so many more now, and being able to sort of repurpose the fashion, etc. So, I'm interested whether you had always had an entrepreneurial sort of spirit, or whether you'd started up other ventures before, or whether this was your first one.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. I would have said a couple of years ago, no, I'm not an entrepreneur and at all. But now I understand that the traits that I have are very common, threaded through entrepreneurism, and other people that kind of pursue projects like myself have always been incredibly driven and self-motivated. And always eager to continue to learn. I was very inspired in my degree, had a great tutor who really pushed me and asked me lots of questions about my projects and why I was doing them. And so I always felt really motivated to do something I really cared about, and never do anything by halves. So...
I mean, a lot of people who listen to the podcast have either started a venture or interested in doing it. And I think one of the key things to come across is it's hard work and dedication, isn't it? To get any project or any idea off the ground, and it's not necessarily whether it doesn't matter what the idea is or the project is. It just needs hard work and dedication.
Yeah, and you really have to believe in it, and your belief has to be so infectious that other people believe in what you're trying to achieve too. Especially when you create a product that doesn't exist, there's so many barriers. People do they understand what we're trying to do? the technology doesn't specifically exist to create it. So we've used, 3D printers and laser cutters to create all of our molds in-house. And I think that takes, a lot more in the mind of doing it. And I would guess over the years of resilience built up of believing that you can do it. And also I had one experience where when I was working in the fashion industry, I've always loved to be busy. Like, I don't like to go home and sit down and watch the telly for the rest of the evening. Like, I like to pursue lots of hobbies and activities. And when I was working, I also worked outside of work, and I started my own fashion brand, and it became pretty successful to the point where I basically had to make a choice. Do I stay in my career or do I take it any further? And I chose not to at the time, which I think I just never wanted to make that mistake again. I knew I had it in me. And actually, when I decided to go full-time with Beevive, one of my best friends said, if anyone can do it, you can, Faye. And I just, that was a great experience. I had experience of setting up and running my own business. I took myself to Exeter College in the evenings to learn business and bookkeeping and all those other fun
I was going to ask
things.
you about that. Yeah. so early on, were you doing everything yourself? You and Jake. Was it a matter of sort of the accounting side? And I mean, it's often a part of a venture that people. It sounds daft saying it, but that don't realise how much importance there is in the accounts and bookkeeping. And it's not just about the idea and the product. There's a business you have to run, and you have to think about, as you talked about, the stock keeping and the accountancy side, and you did all of that yourselves. Yeah,
we did. Yeah. So I knew that I had to learn some business basics, and so that's why I took myself to college in the evenings, and I'd do homework and then go back in, and it was really valuable. I learned I met other people, which was, on the same journey as me, and that was great, sharing that like-minded aspiration. And then, we bootstrapped from the very beginning. We used our own savings to create our prototypes and to kind of take it to market. We ended actually crowdfunding to launch Beevive for two reasons, really. Like, we did need money to run the first full production of Bee Revival kits, but also we wanted to create a community, which was super important for us. Like, we were never going to be able to do this alone. So by doing the crowdfunder, that allowed us to create the community. And it was funny because at first there, you'd get like your mum and your auntie and your best friend. And then very quickly it started like spiraling. Like, these people I didn't know. Yeah. We're starting to believe in our concept and our idea and writing to us and telling us, we've done this before. I wish I had one of these on me. And I just thought, this is just amazing. And so in 24 days, we'd hit our target. And a month later, we launched. And it was, it was incredible.
And so I want to come back to the community side of it. But in terms of the crowdfunding, I mean, obviously there'll be people looking at various ways to raise capital to start their company.
Yeah.
Was it a difficult process? Do you have to do quite a lot of social media engagement to try and get people involved for the crowdfunding, or is it something? How did you get the word out, and how did you gain traction? Because it's not easy.
It's not easy. You have to put yourself out there. You do. And I remember we had. With crowdfunder, you have like an account manager, which is great, and they were giving us lots of advice. And remember her saying to me, the advisor, "You got to put your face on camera, Faye. Like, you've got to show people. You're so passionate about it. You need to show people that." And I was like, they brought the fear to me. I look at the video now and I'm like, so I sat in this field in Cornwall, just like in this dress, like, and Jake was filming me, and we must have taken like 50 cuts. And eventually got there, and I put it out, and the reaction was just lovely. It was, and ever since then I've like, right, I know people need to see my face, hear from me. And they might be sitting behind on their phones and their laptops, but they're definitely engaged with that. So
again, it's another part that people don't really realise is that, I mean, you don't have to be a face of a brand. It obviously depends on what the product is and what it is that you're starting. But it really helps having a founder, especially with so much passion for what it is that they're doing, show themselves, because you have to sell yourself as much as you're selling the product or the idea, and it really helps.
Yeah, you're leading it. You're trying to get people to understand your concept and your world. And for us, my love of bees. I just want people to see. I want them to fall in love with bees too.
And did you? So obviously, your chance encounter with the bee first time around. Did you know a lot about bees beforehand, or are you someone who's?
I'd say I knew more than the average person, but I think it really was the encounter that sparked this further interest of reading and learning, and just I went into it very quickly. Before I knew it, I was becoming very, very knowledgeable, and now I'm very proud. I mean, I've been reading on bees for 6 years now. I've met some incredible people. I'm still learning, and but I think that's very grounding for people to understand. And I think the emotive part of it is that's what we wanted to do with the keyring, is spark other people's interest, because it literally did for us. So why not for other people too?
And again, actually, I want to talk about the importance of bees in our environment and in the UK specifically in a bit. But can we just pop back to the community side of things? Because it's really difficult to keep a community engaged, but you've got you've got a large community of followers. What sort of size of what sort of size is that? Do you know how many people?
I'm constantly trying to gauge it. It's very difficult. I mean, they are very interestingly all around the world. Like only a couple of weeks ago, we had a young lady write in from Hawaii who had saved a bee with our keyring, and it blows my mind. So the scope of where they've got to, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. I'd love to get more data on it. But we have a very involved crowd on Instagram, for our Facebook channels, for our newslettering. We have stockists all around the UK, Europe, and America. So we also have some really great partnerships of people that we've worked with, which just help raise our profile of Beevive, but most importantly, our bees. So, but there are hundreds of thousands of people around the world equipped to save a bee, and that makes me feel really proud. Yeah.
So how long have you actually been running then and selling the original product and new products?
So we founded in 2018, launched in 2019. I went full-time during the pandemic, so that was interesting. Yep. Employed our first member of staff, and now we are a team of 7. Moved out of my house, out of my spare room, and into our own mini production facility. That is, I call it that, but it's such a lovely space. I wanted somewhere, I thought, if I ever run my own business, I would like it to look like this. Yeah. And so I've created, it's very...
Pretty close? Has it been pretty close to it?
Yeah, it has, yeah. We have relaxation area. We have my little dog, Leo, who comes to work with us. Yeah, it's fantastic.
You can see him on the website, can't you?
You can see Leo. Oh, everybody loves King Leo. Yeah. So it's been interesting. It's been a growth. It was, I guess, we're at the beginning because we were running it alongside our full-time jobs. There's only so much time you have in the evenings and weekends and energy. But certainly when I put 2 foot in, It grew very fast, and I think we had to adapt, especially like everybody when the pandemic hit, to how we could best serve our community. So I did bee quizzes online, we did free activities that people could do in their own gardens, and most lovingly would see a lot of people ordering their kits through the letterbox, because we made them, mostly everything we do is letterbox friendly. For a reason, and they were writing the most sweetest messages, and I'd have to hold back tears some days. And I thought, wouldn't it be so great if they could etch them onto the keyring so they could carry them round? And so that next thing we knew we'd ordered a laser engraver. It was being installed, and so we've grown, and out of that growth of putting people's messages onto keyrings, we've now do lots of co-branding activities. So we work with other organisations to spread the message and to help them also raise profits. So most recently we partnered with the WWF, Worldwide Fund for Nature, which was just like a dream come true.
What a perfect synergy.
And their team are fantastic. they're so compassionate, they're so thorough, which I absolutely loved. You know, they make you go through lots of vigorous tests to, you know, you have to have every part of your product looked over, you know, from an environmental perspective, ethical practices, etc. And it took a long time, but getting that pass at the end of it just felt so, it was great. It was validation for us, and also a great partnership, and we've done so well and continue to into the new year. So
two great organisations, and
I know.
Yeah, and I noticed as well when Faye came in with her brilliant bags, by the way, brilliant backpack. I want a backpack that again is branded, co-branded with them, which is great. So I guess that partnership's going to keep going and
and hopefully. Yeah, growing, flourishing, and getting people outside. Like, I guess, like the backpacks, okay, they're not specifically married to saving a bee, but actually all the products that we do are really thought through, have I think, a very considered small range, really. And I think we think about everything we do in so much detail, like, does it align with our mission, our why? And we just want people to get outside and connect with nature, because there's this really great quote actually by David Attenborough that I brought along with me because I hate to get it wrong. And it's, no one will protect what they don't care about, and no one will care about what they have never experienced. So the idea is that we're getting people to experience, you know, being outside, connecting with nature, going, you know, even like camping, jumping in puddles in your wellies, like all these things. Hearing bees, seeing bees, you know, helping to alleviate their fears around them, you know, and in turn, they're going to start caring and appreciating nature much more, and then eventually protecting it. So, these partnerships are great for that, because we just get to spread that message a bit further.
Well, it feels like that with the website. Obviously, you've created a product which is feel good in so many ways. You know, I can just see from Nicola, who had one of your kits, feeling that too. But so much of it is also about bringing that attention to the wider public. Yeah. About bees, about the environment itself, and you know, before I knew we were going to get the chance to chat, I sort of had a look online. It made me want to do that, and I didn't really realise. I mean, I'd heard about it, but the importance of bees on the ecosystem, on a very fragile ecosystem, whether it be bees helping to pollinate crops, the crops that feed livestock, helping to prop up the ecosystem. The importance of bees it's incredible when you
it's exponential. Almost. It's funny because we talk about it mostly in selfish ways in order to get, you know, connect people with it. Really, is the impact that it has on our food. You know, 1 in 3 bites that we eat are responsible for bees. Would lose so much, you know, healthy, nutritious food. When I often go to schools and talk to the children about it and try and connect this idea of, like, you know, what you see in the shops, you know, the food you see is, you know, and how that correlates to bee pollination. And, you know, could you imagine a world without strawberries or, you know, chocolate, or for adults, coffee? You know, I don't think people have really an idea of the scope sometimes of what an amazing job they do. I mean, some species can pollinate up to 2,000 flowers a day. I mean, could you imagine doing that by hand?
It's incredible. Well, and there was a statistic I saw that in order to for UK farmers to do the pollination, if bees wouldn't, would be £1.8 billion a year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane, isn't it? It would cost UK farmers £1.8 billion a year to manually pollinate the crops in the way that the bees are doing anyway. And we've just
try not to feel so sad about it.
It shouldn't be down to money, but that's an incredible amount.
It is an incredible amount, especially when we could easily just do more things to save the bees, take more action to save the bees, and then they're going to do it naturally because that's what they do and they love to do it and they're so busy. Hence, you know, our phrase of busy bees. And
you mentioned a statistic earlier which blew my mind, that the rise in intensive farming has also left bees struggling with their natural habitat. A staggering, was it 97% of wildflower meadows have been lost since the 1930s.
Yeah. And that's their homes. That's where they eat. And like, if just feel we share the planet with them. And I think that's the thing, is they have enough right to be here as we do. And that's why it's so important for us to create these new spaces and to create, more food for them. They need to eat regularly, and they need,
Yeah, I mean that's why that it comes across. What you're doing is far beyond obviously the amazing products and the Bee Revival kits themselves. You're doing a huge amount to kind of share that.
I hope so.
Share that knowledge. Or that's how it certainly feels to me. I mean, it's done that for me and many in our office.
Good. I'm glad. It's infectious.
It is infectious.
It spreads quickly, and that's great. So I do remember at one point when Beevive was growing quite fast, thinking, a bit scared. Like, is this the right thing to do? And then I was sitting down chatting, and my partner reminded me, who is my co-founder of Beevive, the bigger that we grow, the more we can help. And I just thought, that's great. And it kind of broke the barrier down. I was like, right, come on, like let's go, because I do feel quite a responsibility. I over time, the more I learn and read, the responsibility I feel becomes greater. And I know I can't do it alone. We all need to work together. It's about a lot of people doing a little rather than just a few people doing a lot. And that's what our Bee Revival kits and our Bee hotels and the seed balls can do for people. So
and you're saying you can't do it alone, obviously needing everyone in the wider community to do it, but using that analogy for your team as well. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the difference between, or the transition for you from having an idea, developing a prototype and a product, and then going full time, and then suddenly being responsible for a team, and you become a manager. How did you find that? Is that something that you've had experience with before, or is that something you've had to learn?
I've had little experience before, I would say, not extensive managing a team. It was never my business, so I definitely think there is a difference. I believed it was my business at the time. I felt like that because that's how I've been in any role I've had. But when you run your own business, the responsibility, it feels heavy. They have family, they have children, they have a life, and then you're trying to facilitate that also, whilst running a business, and running your business has to be sustainable. So, it's challenging at times. I definitely think, you have really great months and you have months that aren't so powerful, like especially with bees, out of sight, out of mind sometimes. And I try use these months that aren't so flourishing to remind people that the bees are coming back and that we need to think about them. But it is an absolute pleasure. I have a wonderful team. I've seemed to attract a very caring, thoughtful, innovative, driven team at Beevive, who love to learn and share with each other about bees, which is great. And hopefully we'll continue to do so. Also think learning to be maybe management, I had learnt about, but being a leader, I think is different. Remaining positive isn't always easy, but actually I feel like the more people I've had around me, the easier it is to be positive. So I definitely lead like that. That's my style. I try and think of the real bigger picture of what we could create, and I share my vision with my team all the time of where we're going to be. And I think that's why
that communication is so important, isn't it? To help inspire them and to realise what the overall... Yeah,
because your day-to-day activities aren't always I
Yeah.
There's things you have to do that you don't like, but they're an integral part of running your business, accounting in the beginning. It wasn't for me, shall we say. But as soon as I was able to delegate that, it went off, because, you need to do things that make you feel joyful. So being able to delegate those tasks is great, and other people in your team love them. And it's just this great, if you talk about that, then you can find each other's strengths and support each other. But yeah, sharing that long-term vision that we have is so super important. So when you're maybe doing those more mundane tasks, you can think about, well, in 5 years we're going to be here and we're going to be doing this, this is the impact we're going to be having. And then that, you know, we all finish Friday smiling.
Excellent. I mean, these are all really important things for people, you know, as they're embarking on these journeys, to realise that soon it goes from, you know, your concerns about the product often becomes concerns about people, and that's so important. You talked about, you know, it's not always been easy and there's been hard times. What's been the impact on you personally, and you know, you're also running this with your partner. Has that sort of business side, is it difficult to separate the two, and what was the impact on your personal life, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no, I get that a lot, actually. Like, oh, you're a co-founder and you work with your partner who you live with. How's that? And I think it can be challenging, because all we want to do is talk work because we just love it. We have to put boundaries into place for sure, and put our phones away so that we're able to maintain a balanced relationship. We're probably more brutally honest with each other than perhaps you would be with, you know, a colleague or a friend. So you have to be very aware of how you present your thoughts or feelings sometimes in certain situations where you perhaps don't like their idea of doing things, because we're both designers. So we have very specific ways of thinking. But equally, I couldn't think of anyone else I'd rather do it with, and we complement each other very well. And Jake has a huge imagination, and his vision is also huge, and that inspires me on days where perhaps I'm not feeling tip top, like you say, you know, you're not on form every day. And it's great to be able to bounce ideas off other people. So I hear a lot of people, when they do start on their own, wishing they had a partner that they were doing it with, and it does help. It helps you to see the perspective, brings just a different angle to things, and you can sit down, talk through what's happening, and, you know, work out maybe something's going wrong. You can find a solution together, and that is really lovely. But yeah, I guess just doing it together I've personally found really enjoyable. And we had to learn very early on to set boundaries. So we set meetings, for example, on certain days so that they don't interfere. They don't flurry. We save it all up so it doesn't just flurry into when you're eating your dinner.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Talking about it.
It's crucial. I mean, at IdeaSpace, we've got you know, lots of the companies have founders and co-founders, and some that know each other well, friends, partners, and it is really important to set those boundaries and set time limits as well, as to when things are a business and when things aren't, when things are social. And but yeah, it's really interesting what you say about that kind of inspiring each other, keeping each other buoyed, you know, not losing sight of the vision when it becomes very you know, when it suddenly looks very distant and very hard to get to.
Yeah. It's like you're running after it and it's getting a bit further away, and sometimes you just need the boost. But just like we've had some great things we've been able to celebrate together. We've had an amazing opportunity to work with Dell, the technology company.
Oh, right. Wow. Tell us more about that. It's interesting.
Yeah. So, I'll try and keep a very long story short. But basically, when I first left my job, I was at home, obviously, like we all were, and I knew I'm such a people person. I love socializing, which is why I guess I love having a team so much, because I always hoped it would be like that. And I knew I had to do some networking online because I felt very lonely really quickly. I was having to make really important decisions on a daily basis, and I wasn't able to meet and connect and, you know, with other people, and perhaps actually not everyone I knew owned a business, so they weren't able to give me appropriate advice. Whereas so I joined Devon, which is Dell Women's Entrepreneur Network, and they offered, you know, it was a free joining, free tuition online, all these courses. I met like-minded women in business who were focusing on loads of different areas, but also in sustainability and technology, which I'm really, really interested in. So Yeah, and they were running this competition in America, like a Dream Tech contest, and you put your, idea out there. And I followed along, and I loved it. It was great. The women and their business ideas were fantastic, and I voted. And the lady that I voted for won. And I was so thrilled. And the next year, they brought it to the UK for the first time. And I remember sitting on my lunch break going, Faye, you've got to apply. No, don't apply. You don't have time. You tell yourself all these things like, I don't have time. My idea's not good enough. And then I don't know. I put the kettle on and I was like, Faye, you're telling yourself lies. What have you got to lose? Do it now. Almost gave myself 45 minutes. And I don't even think I filled it out to the best of my ability, admittedly, because but I did it. And I got through to the round and then the next round. And then I had to do the camera thing again where, you get filmed and you put yourself out there. And I couldn't believe it, but we won. And it was it was
story.
Amazing. Yeah, we won £25,000 worth of technology.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
And so my team were then fully equipped with, the best, some of the best software. And we just stayed in contact, and our partnership continued into the point where they were doing an innovation campaign where they were talking about using technology to aspire innovation and create things that didn't exist before. So there was lots of different companies from different sectors all around the world. And again, Beevive got put forward, and we got the space of one of 5, and they flew us out to Los Angeles, and we filmed this campaign and met the most incredible other people, including the lady that had
that you
won,
voted for.
Yeah, who runs Campworks, which is an off-the-grid trailer. It's just again, connecting people with nature outside using technology. It was just such a great experience, and we got to do it together. And honestly, I just wouldn't have wanted to do it with anyone else. And I guess there are the moments you get when you have with a co-founder, perhaps.
Yeah. That's such a great story. Sorry, can you just tell us the name of the competition?
So it was. So the network is called Devon, Dell Women's Entrepreneur Network, and it is the Dream Tech contest.
Okay, great.
I've said that many a times. It's a tongue twister.
Yeah. It's really important to share those, because obviously it's been a pivotal part for you. Do you think that was one of the things? So I was going to say, often you find in business there's a point, there's a turning point or a fork in the road that means that you end up going one way or the other, and they're not necessarily the right forks in the road, but sometimes there are key and pivotal ones that really boost a business or that really inspire you to follow that. Might that have been one of those, or? I
think it helped reinstate the belief. I think other smaller things, weirdly, we were talking about this at work the other day, when you make a decision and you don't realise it's going to inform the rest of your, the coming years. And I would say things like, and I know this is really basic, but I feel this for people that start off a business, is when quitting your job and moving your business out of your house into an industrial unit with the 5-year contract. And I remember sitting with Jacob being like, okay, so this is all the costs. But what if we don't do it? And I think it's the what if that makes you do it. And it's the best thing that ever happened. And it really did steer the business in the correct way. And it meant people could come to us. And that was really great. And so I'd say probably something like that would have been quite a turning point for us. I
was going to jump in there with an absolutely shameless plug, or it wasn't meant to be a shameless plug, but we find the same with us. I mean, the idea of Idea Space is that people come together, founders are in the same place together, inspiring each other or sharing ideas, etc. But that move from where you're doing the work at your kitchen table, and you can do that. Many people work in sort of isolation or in their own home. But just coming somewhere that becomes your place of work away from home can suddenly, whether it be the connections that you make with other people or just that sense that you are going to work, it's not sort of molded or melded into
Again, it's another boundary you're able to set for yourself.
Exactly.
And you get in a certain headspace. We all have like interests and hobbies outside of our work, and it's great I felt like it gave me permission to leave and do something else every night, on a Tuesday night, or I make sure prioritize going to the gym in the morning. Whereas when you're waking up and you could see your laptop and it's screaming at you the amount of things you need to do, it's very easy to disprioritize yourself. And I think spaces like this are fantastic. And above all, as well as that, just being around other people who are really driven, and who are positive, and like you can see the fire in their, even if you don't know anything about what they're doing, you can see it in them that they just and I think that's really important, being surrounded by that very frequently, and not the other way round, not the people that you might accidentally be around every day telling, is it, the negativity very quickly.
It can really affect you, can't it?
Yeah, and it can. And if you're exposed to it often, it can really make you doubt. I remember when we were doing our crowdfunding, for example, and again, we're alone at this point, right? Only me and Jake really believed in the idea, and a few people online who'd seen it and thought, okay, I'd get behind this. I love bees too. There were people that were saying, don't be disheartened if it doesn't work. Or, well, it's a bit niche. Yeah. What you're doing is very niche.
There might be some other ideas that you could think about.
Yeah, do you want to explore that? But you're so good at fashion. Why don't you just you stay there?
Yeah.
And it actually can really get to you. And so I use that now as motivation. And I try sometimes when I'm like, I'm like, no. You can either take it one way or the other, but I think if you're surrounded by it frequently, it can be quite bad for your mental health. I find that personally. So I know
what you mean. So I'm really interested and keen to know where things go from here for you, and what your plans might be for the future with Beevive. Is it are there things you can reveal? Is it a slow growth thing? Is it a rapid expansion thing? Or
I there's lots of things in the pipeline. I mean, we have so many ideas. It's more about putting them into manageable sections, I think, for us, because we just always want to keep growing and moving forward and innovating. I don't think you sit in a space for too long without moving in one direction, either forwards or backwards. I've seen to experience. Last year we launched a bee identification guide on our website, which then has turned into a QR code that is distributed through various products that we have. So, if you see a bee and you save it and you'd love to know what type of bee it is, or you spot it, you can use our guide to find out online. So we're pushing that a bit further and growing that educational side of our business. For those of you who would love to learn more about bees, we have a very expansive blog that goes into a lot of detail about bees and pollination and food and agriculture and farming. And so, we're very keen to keep growing that. We will soon be in so our first big high street store that will be stocking us, which will be John Lewis.
Great.
Yeah, which is really exciting.
News.
So they go into store in spring, they roll out into 22 stores and online, and that's going to be very cool for us. Definitely somewhere we would have liked to see ourselves, just because the exposure will be great. Hopefully we'll, connect with other people that might not have thought about, saving a bee before. And I think that's important, is not just targeting people that love bees, but actually who were maybe fearful of them. And I talk about that a lot with the children, alleviating fears of bees and understanding that, in fact, not all bees sting. Male bees do not have a stinger. So if you are able to identify, with caution, obviously, the difference between a male and a female you know that a male bee doesn't have a stinger and therefore can't harm you. And I think those facts are so great to learn. And identifying bees is so cool. So
that's all via your website and the blog.
Yeah, you can find the guide on the website. It talks about.
Sorry, and I was going to say that's Beevive, which is B-E-E.
Yes.
V-I-V-E.
Yes.
.com.
Yeah, exactly. .com. So you can find all that information online. We have a few new products coming up, which obviously I can't talk about. It's like that tease. So stay tuned. And the long-term vision of Beevive, which always makes me smile, is we worked with this company before called Pollinize, who are a local CIC to us, actually from Plymouth.
Oh, right.
And they have a really great mantra which says, think global but act local. And I love that, because we always think global, or I do. But I would like to start acting within my local area in terms of having a hub. So we're looking to acquire disused farming land, and first the stage would be to rewild it and also set up the infrastructure of electricity and water. I want it to be completely self-regenerative. So again, Jake will come in handy. All the planning permission and the building and design work. And there we will have it was basically we see as a hub, like for with a cafe, a gift shop, and all of our production from Beevive will get done there. So currently it is done in Exeter in the UK, and so we'd like to keep it there. So we would have our production facility on site with a little gift shop, just as a homage to everyone, all the gift shops we've been in the past 5 years. And most importantly, an educational centre, so a room dedicated to hosting workshops. So at current, I go into schools or clubs or organisations and I deliver to them. But what I have experienced is, unfortunately, sometimes they don't get the opportunity to be in nature like I did when I was a child. My parents were amazing. They've been super supportive, but also we were encouraged to camp and also, get muddy and get in the sea, and I think that having that from a young age really helped me to identify with nature and understand its importance. And so I would love, when I go into the classes, it's great, but we're in a class, and I'd love to take them out of the class and put them in that environment where we could walk around and learn fun facts on plaques, and other people, other specialists, other experts in different industries could come in and present talks, and maybe we could have like an allotment section where people could grow together and meet new friends and talk. And so that's really what I want to create, but we'll see how it forms. It
sounds amazing. And more and more as whether you're looking at the news or reading things online, everyone wants to reconnect or needs to reconnect.
Yeah.
It's not just about bees. It's about the soul. I don't want to go too much.
Yeah. You can go. You can go as woo-woo as you want.
No, but it does. It does feel like that. It feels like more than ever that's what we need. And I was also going to say, for those people that are listening, you'll hear the amount of passion that Faye's got, and if only you could see as well the sort of smile that you've got on your face when you're talking about not just bees but nature in general. So we're actually almost going to be running out of time, which is such a shame. I could just carry on talking with you, but I'm just interested to know, what's been the most enjoyable part of this whole journey, if you can. It'll be hard to pick one, but
gosh, that's the question. Yeah, I mean, you said you wanted to. We've got to finish soon.
Yeah.
Oh wow, there's so many moments that we've had. I just honestly think it has to be receiving emails from people that perhaps wouldn't have cared before but have learnt to care, and it's really great to pass that on to people. Like, I've had very honest emails of like, hey, so I was gifted one of your bee revival kits for Christmas, and at first, admittedly, I thought, being blunt, what's this about? But I've just since then, I saved 3 bees this summer, and I can't tell you what it felt like. now I have my grandchildren doing this, and now I've done that, and it just gives, because that's the moment that I had, and then I want it gives me so much joy. But yeah, I think just building the team, watching it grow, partnering with some fantastic companies and tiny independent boutiques all over the UK, because I know it means a lot to them too. And I can't wait to see where it goes next.
Well, neither can we. What a nice place to end this chat, this podcast. Thank you so much for for what you've done, but also sharing your journey. Anyone listening, please do visit your fantastic site, and also learn more about bees.
Yeah. Oh, yes,
and get yourselves outside.
Yeah, exactly. take a as Julia Bradbury say, take a nature break.
yeah, exactly. Faye, thanks so much. I should also just say, if people want to find Faye online, Faye Elizabeth Whitley. You're on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
is that okay
please,
if people might connect?
Please connect on LinkedIn. Our website is beevive.com. We're also on our social media channels, all the common ones: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can find us. Would love to hear from you, and any questions, of course, if anyone has them for me, I'd love to chat.
That'd be great if there are sort of business related type questions from any listeners, whether they be starting their ventures, already running them, or just maybe have an idea, because you're very
don't give up.
You're very inspiring, so they can reach out and you can help inspire them directly.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. For more information or any inquiries about joining Ideaspace, please contact us via ideaspace.cam.ac.uk or via any of our social media channels.